Hello, my dear students. In this video, inshallah, we are going to discuss the most important points to be covered in the final exam of English for term 1, the year 2024-2025. This video is going to be useful for students of 11 Advanced, 11 Elite, and 12 Advanced. Before I continue with the lesson, inshallah, I would like you to be careful about the fact that the support grammar PowerPoint, the official one from the ministry, is still not released. Till the time I'm recording this video, it is not released yet. So you have to be careful. When that one is released, you have to read it word by word, just in case there is a change or there are any additions that might be important. And of course, I will put this in the description box once it is available, inshallah. So first of all, let me discuss quickly how the exam is going to be like. The first part, which is going to be the writing, is going to be exactly the same as last year. No change at all. This session is going to be 1 hour and a half. And it's going to be on paper for students of 11 Advanced and 11 Elite. As for grade 12 students, you are going to do the whole exam, writing and reading on Swift Assess, which means it's going to be online, inshallah. For the writing, as you know, there will be part 1, which is going to be an opinion. You have to write 2 sentences, which is going to be an opinion on an essay prompt. And then you are going to write the plan for the same essay topic. And then you are going to write the extended essay. And then you are going to be given a long reading passage. And then you will be given 2 questions to answer in writing. The total marks will be 40 marks, and this was the same last year. As for the second part, which is reading, there will be a slight change, but the total number of questions will stay the same. They just added a new part, a new text to the number of parts in the exam, but the number of the total questions will stay the same. So you'll have a maze task of 4 questions. This one is expected to be easier than your level. 4 questions, and then another task, maze task, which is going to be 8 questions. These are expected to be the grammar points, which I'm going to discuss today, inshallah. Then another reading passage, then 5 questions, another reading passage, 3 questions, another one with 7 questions, and then part 10, which is going to be the last one, is going to use the same text, which is going to be in part 9. So part 9 and part 8 will have the same text exactly, but you will have different types of questions in each part. The total marks will be 60 marks. Of course, the time to be given for the reading will be 1 hour. Okay, so 1 hour and a half for writing and 1 hour for reading. You have, of course, some topics to help you get ready for the final exam. We have culture and customs, الثقافة والعادات, technology, التكنولوجيا, and people, الناس. And you have some words to be included in the final exam. This means that I will see these words in the final exam, in the reading passages, and in the maze tasks, and probably in the writing. So I need to go to the final exam at least knowing these words. It does not mean that these will be the only difficult words, because there might be more difficult words in the final exam, but at least we know these words will be there for sure. So what can I do with them? I can use ChatGPT to create sentences for me, to create questions about these words. I can ask also for the words to be included in information texts or stories, in order to familiarize myself with how to use them, and even go further by asking ChatGPT to write some comprehension questions for me to help me get ready for the final exam. Then what do I have to do now? I need to study the grammar points and the functional language. This slide I took from the assessment planner of the Ministry of Education. As you can see here, you have some prerequisite grammar, and then you have GSE grammar, which is the main grammar that you will see in the final exam, and then you have the functional language. I try to organize this in an easier way, in this way. Prerequisite means التمهيدي, something you need to study in order to help you be ready for the main grammar rule. يعني for example, I have the reporting future plans. This will help you understand the passive reporting verbs. And then the present simple passive will help me when I try to study the present continuous passive and so on. All of them will be like this. So let's agree from this point onward that all the gray ones will be the prerequisites. كل الرمادي هيكون هو التمهيدي. And then all the yellow boxes will be the main grammar points to be found in the final exam. What does this mean? Are they both important? Of course they are. But for me, I believe the yellow ones for sure you will see in the final exam, because this is your main curriculum. This is the grammar you're supposed to be studying. But I would not ignore this one. Okay, so also the prerequisite is very important. Number one, because it will help you understand the main grammar points. Number two, you may see it in the exam in the first maze or the second maze, you never know. Or these will be also used throughout the whole exam in the reading passages and everything. Okay, so let me start with the first one, which is reporting future plans. Very, very easy in my opinion. Okay, this is the learning outcome. Can report current and future plans and intentions. Okay, so I have some examples here. Reporting verbs are verbs like tell and say. يعني when I want to report what someone else says, I will use reporting verbs. Okay, for example, he says he can do it. So the original sentence was supposed to be I can do it. في حد قال I can do it. أستطيع أن أعمل هذا. So if you want to report, عايزين ننقل الحديث, so we will say something like he says he can do it. هو بيقول إنه يقدر يعمل ذلك. Something really simple. She tells me she's happy. يعني the original sentence was I am happy. So here you have to be careful about changing the pronouns. She said I am happy. I am happy, right? So when you report, لما ننقل الحديث, what will we say? We will say she tells me she's happy. هي بتقول إنها سعيدة. I just have to change the pronouns here to make the sentence look correct. Okay? This is so easy in my opinion, but it will prepare you for the next one, which is the passive reporting verbs. So here I will have to use the passive اللي هو المبني للمجهول. This one I still believe very, very easy. Just familiarize yourself with the structure and some examples. So examples are like this. She is thought to be. So what is the structure here? Usually I can use it plus passive reporting verb. يعني reporting verb اللي هو can think وtell وsay. I will use it in the passive form. هستخدمه في شكل المبني للمجهول. يعني I will use the past participle with verb to be in order to do that. It's possible for me to say it plus the passive reporting verb and then that, or I can use the subject like this one. هستخدم الفاعل she and then the passive reporting verb. She is thought to be. So here I can say it is thought that she is a highly skilled mechanical engineer, or I can say she is thought to be a highly skilled mechanical engineer, and I will give you more examples. So for example, they are reported to be the most talented chefs in town. يعني يقال عنهم إن هم الطباخين الأمهر أو الأكثر موهبة في المدينة. So it is possible for me to say it is reported that they are the most talented chefs, or I can say they are reported to be the most talented chefs in town. Please be familiar with a sentence or two, because you will see the exact same examples being used in the final exam. Everyone was believed to have passed the exam. This one is slightly different because here the structure is followed by have and then past participle. Why? Because this happened in the past. يعني everyone was believed to have passed the exam. تعني إنه يعتقد إنه الكل نجح في الامتحان في الماضي. Okay, so I thought يعني I should give you this one just in case you are talking about something that happened in the past. In this case, I have to be careful. that whatever comes after this structure, if it's something that happened in the past, I will use have past participle. Everyone was believed to have passed the exam. Everyone was believed to have studied hard or to have worked hard. يعني اشتغلوا بجد in the past. Okay. Other sentences are very, very easy. It is thought that, now we are using it, it is thought that the rain will continue into next week. يعني يعتقد إنه المطر سيستمر خلال الأسبوع القادم. Okay. Another thing that is also prerequisite برضو من القواعد التمهيدية present simple passive يعني المضارع البسيط المبني للمجهول. Okay. We all know that the present simple is something that we use in order to talk about daily habits. يعني for example, I go to school every day. This is a habit, something I do every day. So it's present simple. Now we will learn how to change this into a passive tense. إزاي أغير للمبني للمجهول when I don't know the subject. So let's look at this. It's already sold online. This sentence is passive. مبني للمجهول because I don't know who does the selling. I don't know the person responsible for the selling. It's already sold online. يباع online. Okay. So the original sentence اللي هي the active tense was like that. They already sell it online. Now I have the subject الفاعل موجود. They already sell it والمفعول اللي هو it online. Then this one is an active tense. Okay. Another example, they're made with flour and water. I can see that I don't have the subject. ما عندي الفاعل مش موجود. Okay. يعني هم يصنعوا من الطحين والماء. Okay. The original sentence was something like this. People make them with flour and water. Let me explain how to change some specific sentences to passive. When I say something like this is an active sentence. Active يعني مبنية للمعلوم, which means I know the subject. I know the doer of the action. The man drives the taxi every day. الرجل يقود السيارة كل يوم. So now I know who does this. It's the man, right? If I want to change to passive, what should I do? First of all, I have to decide the subject. فين الفاعل? Okay, the man, right? First of all, I have to delete that. لازم نلغيها من الجملة because it's going to be passive. يعني أنا ما أعرفش أصلا مين الفاعل, or I don't care, or I want to give more importance to the action. I will delete the word the man, and then I will decide where the object, المفعول فين, the taxi, and then I will start with this word in the beginning, and then I have to decide if it's singular or plural. أشوف هي مفرد ولا جمع. If it's singular, and we're talking about the present simple, لو هي مفرد بحط is. If it's plural, لو كانت جمع بحط are. And then we have to continue with the past participle. So the taxi is, لأنه taxi مفرد فهحط is, the taxi is. And then I have to think of this verb, the verb drive. For every verb in English, we have three forms. طبعا في 3 تصريفات للأفعال in English. Usually we have the first one اللي هو usually used in the present simple tense. دايما بنستخدم المضارع يعني يقود. We drove the past tense. She drove yesterday, for example. And then the last one, driven, is usually used when I use it with has, have, had, or with verb to be, like in our case now. يعني أنا الحين I need verb to be اللي هو is plus past participle. زائد التصريف الثالث اللي هو هيكون driven. So the taxi is driven. This is the sentence that will show me this is a sentence used in the passive form. So the taxi is driven by the man every day. What is the difference between this one and this one? The difference is that here the focus is on the person doing the action. هنا بركز على الشخص نفسه اللي بيعمل الفعل. But here I am focusing on the action itself. يعني ما يهمنيش مين اللي يقود, because some people will say, but you mentioned that it was by the man. I mentioned it, but my focus is on the action. And sometimes I don't know the doer, so I will not even mention that. Okay. طيب. Let's take another example. If I look at this one, the teacher gives exams every week. Now I know who does this. أنا عارفة إنه اللي بيعطي الامتحان هو المعلم. المعلم يعطي امتحانات كل أسبوع. So if I want to change this, first I have to decide on the subject. فين الفاعل? The teacher. And then I have to delete or remove from the sentence. هشيلها خالص من الجملة. And then I will start with the object. هشوف فين المفعول به اللي هو exams. And I will start with the word exams. هبدأ بيها الامتحانات. And then I have to decide singular or plural. هل الكلمة مفرد أو جمع؟ and then I have to decide between is or are. طبعا are لأنها جمع. and then I have to find the past participle اللي هو التصريف الثالث للفعل اللي هو give. So I have give, gave, given. Of course I will take the third one. أخذ الثالث. So exams are given. Exams are given يعني تعطى الامتحانات. تعطى الامتحانات. Okay, so here exams are given by the teacher every week. As we said before, in the first one, the focus is on the person doing the action. أنا مركزة مع المعلم اللي هو اللي بيعطي الامتحان. But on the second sentence, I'm focusing more on the action اللي هي عملية إعطاء الامتحان نفسه. Okay? How can I have a sentence like this in a final exam, or why should I be careful? Because once you are given a word, يعني لو جاني في الامتحان في الميز a word like exams in the beginning of a sentence, and then I have choices like are given or give, for example. Which one to be chosen here? طبعا هاخد are given simply because exams are not able to give. الامتحانات ما بتعطي يعني it's not something that is able of doing this action. So in this case, I have to decide if the word that is given to me is this thing able to do the thing or not. Okay, so be careful with this in the final exam. This was something I needed to move on to the next point. ده كان تمهيدي عشان أنتقل للpassives again, the present continuous passive اللي هو الفعل أو الزمن المضارع المستمر المبني للمجهول. Okay, so I have sentences like these. Okay. Why haven't the IT students completed the online project? The students' laptops are being replaced, so they don't have access. يعني إيه are being replaced؟ يعني يتم استبدالهم الآن. We are in the process of replacing them. The only difference between this tense زمن المضارع المستمر يفرق إيه عن المضارع البسيط اللي هو كان في الشريحة اللي قبل. يعني لما أقول students laptops are replaced، إيه الفرق بين are replaced و are being replaced؟ لما أقول students laptops are replaced مثلا every year، يتم استبدالهم كل سنة. It's like a habit, a routine that happens every year. But when I say are being replaced, this means we are in the process now. إحنا يعني في وسط العملية وما خلصناها. Okay? So if we're talking about يعني or we have a timeline like this, it probably started in the past and it's still continuous now. It's still going on now. ولسه ما خلصت. Maybe it will continue also in the future. Laptops being replaced now. Okay. يعني the original sentence might have been something like this. The IT department is replacing students' laptop. لو افترضنا انه قسم الاي تي هو الحين بيقوم بتبديل لابتوبات الطلاب. Okay, so what happened is that we have to decide on the subject. لازم نقرر مين الفاعل. الاي تي department. وبعدين remove this from the sentence. بنشيله من الجملة. Probably we don't care who is doing the replacement. يعني ممكن نكون مش مهتمين مين اللي بيبدل. المهم نقول له يعني عملية التبديل قائمة فعلا. In this case, I will remove this وهنبدأ ب students' laptops because it's the object. هي دي المفعول هبدأ بيها like here the students' laptops. وطبعا بقرر إذا كانت مفرد ولا جمع. So I will use are لأن الكلمة جمع. are and then being and then past participle. يبقى كده structure is or are being plus past participle. Past participle هو التصريف الثالث. يعني كانت replaced. I will take the last one. Are being replaced. Okay. طيب I will give you more examples. لما أقول مثلا animals habitats in the rainforest are being destroyed. are being destroyed. are being destroyed يعني بيتم تدميرهم. يتم تدميرهم. يعني if we look at this timeline, it's probably started in the past. It's still going on now and probably will continue in the future. We don't know, but it's not finished yet. يعني we expect this to still continue in the future. Okay, so are being destroyed. ليه حطينا are؟ لأنه we're talking about habitats. It's a plural word. الكلمة جمع فبحط معاها are plus being plus past participle of the verb اللي هو كان destroy. So destroy, destroyed, destroyed. Okay. Also something like this. Environmental threats. التهديدات البيئية are currently. كمان currently يعني is a word that will give me a feeling it's happening now. Currently يعني حاليا. يعني التهديدات البيئية حاليا بيتم مراجعتها by the government. So things like these I have to be careful about. لما أقول threats ما ينفعش أقول threats are reviewing. لا, threats are being reviewed. التهديدات ما بتراجع. يعني التهديدات شيء ما بتقوم بأي فعل. So I will say environmental threats are being reviewed. يعني بيتم مراجعتها بواسطة حد تاني. هنا مكتوب by the government يعني بواسطة الحكومة. Okay. Another rule which is the second conditional. This is really important. It's a prerequisite grammar rule that you have to study. طبعا هي تمهيدية لقاعدة تانية, but I think it's important because it will make it very easy to understand the next one. The second conditional are about something like this. If I say something like I would call her if I had her number. يعني هتصل بيها إذا عندي رقمها. الأبوستروفي دي اختصار لكلمة I would. I would call her if I had her number. هتصل بيها إذا عندي رقمها. Okay. If I had the money, I would buy it. I'd buy it. لو عندي الفلوس هشتريها. طيب, what is the problem here? The problem is that you are actually looking at a verb in the past. احنا شايفين قدامنا فعل في الماضي اللي هو had هنا وhad هنا, but actually it is not a real past. It is something we call in English unreal past. ماضي غير حقيقي. Let me explain more here. This will be clearer. Okay. As I said before, usually the second conditional is about something imaginary in the present or in the future. And this is the tricky part, is that I am looking at a verb in the past, but actually I'm talking about the present. If I won $1 million, لو أفوز ب1,000,000 هشتري سيارة جديدة. طيب, what is the truth? What is the real situation? The real situation is I don't have $1 million now. I don't have this. And I will not buy a new car because I don't have $1 million. Okay. So this is all an imaginary situation. الموقف كله خيالي ومش حقيقي. So that's why I'm using what I call in English an unreal past tense here. مستخدمة حاجة اسمها past simple tense, بس هو الحقيقة إنه it is not real. Why do I tend to use this in imaginary situations? Because I'm trying to tell you that the verb is not true or the situation is not real in the present. So that's why I have to change the present to the past. Okay. Again, another example. If I were you, I would quit smoking. لو أنا مكانك ببطل التدخين. طبعا it is not possible for me to be you. So the truth is, or the real situation is, I am not you. أنا مش أنت أكيد. And I will not quit smoking because I am not you, and probably I'm not smoking. I'm not a smoker. So this is again an imaginary situation. أنا بتخيل إنه لو أنا مكانك هعمل كده. Okay. طيب, why do I use were here? Usually we say I was. صح. المفروض grammatically I would say I was. I was playing. I was a student. I was there yesterday. المفروض إني بستخدم was. Usually in imaginary situations we tend to use were. دايما نستخدم were with all the pronouns. In some situations you will see the word was. ممكن بعض الناس تستخدم was in some sentences, but I would say in if I have a formal situation I will use were. Were is going to be much better here. So if I were you, I would quit smoking. لو مكانك هبطل التدخين. Another example, if I had more time, if I had more free time, I would travel to many countries. لو عندي وقت هسافر لدول كثيرة. طبعا I'm imagining the whole situation here. It's an imaginary situation. يعني the truth is I do not have free time and I will not travel to many countries. Some people ask me something like, what if I say, if I have more free time, I will travel to many countries? What is the difference? And this is the first condition. لما أقول if I have more free time, I will travel to many countries. It's possible to say this. طبعا صح. But the only difference is that here you are giving me the feeling that this is impossible or this is all imaginary. يعني أنا بتخيل الموقف. But if I say if I have more free time, you're showing me there is a possibility. يعني لما إن شاء الله يكون عندي وقت إن شاء الله بسافر. There is a possibility. Okay. So this is the idea of using the second conditional. Okay. It's all about using unreal past tenses. هستخدم past simple اللي أنا بسميه unreal past. Okay. Because I'm trying to tell you that the situation is not real in the present. Okay. Right. Why did I learn all of this? In order to prepare for something else. But before I go to the next thing, I need to comment on the word had. Be very careful. إنه had here is not followed by another verb. يعني ما قلتش if I had got or if I had studied. Okay. So in this case, it is simply a main verb that I am using in order to give you the main meaning of the sentence. يعني هي مش فعل مساعد نفس لما أقول if I had studied لأنه لو كانت had studied ولا had got it will be another tense. هيكون tense تاني مش past simple هيكون past perfect. And in this case it will be the third conditional. هدخل في third conditional اللي هو يعني it's not included in our curriculum. So be careful when I use had here, it is not followed by another verb. Okay. Let's move to something else. Okay. طبعا if this lesson, I have a lesson about the first, second, وthird والmixed conditionals اللي هي خليط ما بين الثاني والثالث. This lesson is recorded. If you are interested to learn more about this, you can watch the two videos. One of them is an explanation of the whole rule, all the cases of the conditionals, and the other one is includes exercises about the topic. If you are interested, but actually, according to the assessment planner, you're only supposed to learn about the second conditional. Okay. Why did I study this? To prepare me for this one, the next one. The expressions as if and as though. كما لو. Okay. These again tend to use the past simple to refer to hypothetical or counterfactual circumstances. يعني بستخدم معاها الماضي البسيط عشان يعني أشير لأشياء افتراضية أو مش حقيقية. Again, imaginary situations. نفس اللي كانت second conditional. فusually I will use structure equivalent. يعني structure هيكون نفس structure المستخدم في second conditional. فبحط as if or as though plus a past tense clause to refer to something hypothetical or imaginary or not real. Okay. So if I look at this example, no, I didn't like Adam. He acted as if he owned this business. يعني كان بيتصرف كما لو إنه يمتلك البزنس. لكن في الحقيقة he doesn't own it. He doesn't. Okay. طبعا some people might ask me if there is any difference between as if or as though. هل في فرق بين ال two expressions as if و as though? Actually, no. Both of them mean the same thing. They are used in the same way. The only slight difference is that as though tends to be a little more formal. يعني شوية رسمية أكتر. Most people will use the expression as if. It looks more common and that's it. But both are used in the same way exactly. Also, you need to know that sometimes it is not possible. It is not followed by the past simple. But according to the assessment planner, المنهج بتاعنا, we are supposed to study it with the past simple. Okay, to refer to something unreal. So here, what do I have? He acted as if he owned. حطيت هنا owned in the past simple tense. حطيتها في الماضي اللي هو again I would call this unreal past. بسميه unreal past because it refers to the fact this situation is not real. Let me give you more examples. Her motivational speech was amazing. It is as if she knew the thoughts of everyone in her audience. طبعا يعني مستحيل إنه في شخص يقدر يعرف كل أفكار الحاضرين. if I say this, it means that I'm saying it is not true. It is as if يعني يبدو كأنها كانت تعرف أو مش كانت تعرف، يبدو إنها تعرف كل الأفكار اللي تدور في عقول الحاضرين which is not possible. أكيد طبعا مش منطقي. So that's why I'm using the verb in the past. عشان كده استخدمت knew مش knows. Okay. Molly acts as if she were the teacher. طبعا as I told you before المفروض كنا نحط she was a teacher which is possible sometimes. بس بستخدم were in these situations when I'm using or talking about something imaginary or unreal. I tend to use where with all the pronouns. هستخدم where مع جميع الضمائر. She, he, it, they, I, everything. Okay. So here what does it mean؟ يعني هي بتتصرف كما لو إنها المدير، كما لو إنها المعلمة. يعني she is not the teacher. The reality is that she is not the teacher. Okay. So I'm using the past tense مش عشان أقول إنه في حاجة حصلت في الماضي، بس to say that this is not true. بس عشان أقول إنه مش حقيقي، هي بتتصرف كما لو إنها المعلمة لكن هي مش المعلم. confidently raising his hand بمنتهى الثقة رفع إيده. it looked as though he knew the answer. يعني يبدو كأنه يعرف الإجابة. So what I'm trying to say is that he doesn't know. هو ما يعرفش الإجابة. Okay. But he acted as though or as if he knew the answer. كما لو إنه يعرف الإجابة. Okay. برضو I have another lesson recorded, a video. It has an explanation of this lesson with reference طبعا to the unreal past and everything, but be careful. In the lesson you will also have an explanation of how to use it with the present simple tense. If you feel you're going to be confused, then stick to today's video. Okay. Another thing which I think is easy in my opinion, deductions, الاستنتاجات. First you have to learn about can't and must. يعني هو عطينا في التمهيدي بس how to use these with the present. أهو حطيت لي في present ده التمهيدي. But then later I have to learn about the past. طيب كيف يعني؟ can't, must for inferences أو for deductions يعني أستخدمها للاستنتاج. For example, she can't be over 30. She looks so young. Can't be يعني مستحيل تكون فوق 30. شكلها صغير جدا. فcan't هنا has nothing to do with ability. أنا مش بقول إنها لا تستطيع أبدا. can't here has another meaning which is deduction. أنا بستنتج بخمن. I'm trying to make يعني to make a deduction or I'm speculating. كل القصة إنه أنا بأخمن إن هي مستحيل تكون فوق 30. Why? Because I have a piece of evidence. عندي دليل أهو إن هي شكلها صغير. Okay. So she can't be over 30. مستحيل تكون فوق 30. So I use can't when I'm sure something is impossible. 99% sure something is impossible. From her accent, she must be American. من لهجتها أكيد إنها أمريكية. She must be American. So when I'm almost sure or about 99% sure that something is possible, I would say must with the verb. She must be American. لا أكيد إنها أمريكية. Okay? These two are used in the present. اللي أنا شايفاهم الحين مستخدمين في المضارع. Okay? Why do I study this? In order to prepare me for other models of deductions. كل الأفعال الناقصة اللي بتستخدم للاستنتاج. So now I can have a wide range of models. We will use them in the present and in the past. طيب. I have another one in the present now. I took these examples from a PowerPoint previously released by the ministry. I'm not sure, it was probably last year or the year before. Oh, Fatma, I'm too tired to work today. And then someone said, You've been resting for most of the day, عايشة. Okay, you can't be tired. You can't be tired. يعني مستحيل تكوني تعبانة. Why? Because you've been resting for most of the day. انت كنتي مرتاحة طول اليوم. فازاي تكوني تعبانة؟ Here can't means مستحيل تكوني تعبانة. مستحيل معناها انه I am trying to speculate. انا بس بخمن بس تخميني قوي. I'm يعني 99% sure that she is not tired. Okay? She must be concerned about the environment because she uses recycled materials daily. يعني أكيد من المؤكد إن هي مهتمة بالبيئة، لأنه أنا عندي دليل إن هي بتستخدم مواد يعني تعاد تدويرها بشكل دائم. أوكي، ف must be هنا معناها أكيد. يعني I'm trying to speculate or I'm trying to guess what she is like. أوكي. No one is answering the door. They might still be at the mall. طيب, this is a new one now. I'm using the modal verb might. لو مش متأكدة, if I'm like 50% sure about something, I would use might. يعني احتمال. They might be still at the mall. إذا ما فيش حد بيجاوب بيفتح الباب. So they might still be at the mall. يبقى احتمال يكونوا في المول. Because I'm not sure. They might be at home, but maybe they didn't hear the bell or anything. If I'm not sure, I can use modal verbs like might or may or could. Okay. Now we can move to using modals of deductions when I'm talking about the past. لما أتكلم عن الماضي, I will use must and then have past participle. That's it. So instead of must and the verb and the infinitive, I will use must have past participle. I must have looked awful because she asked me whether I was all right. يعني أكيد أنا شكلي كان فظيع لأن هي سألتني إذا كنت أوكي ولا مش أوكي. ف I must have looked هنا معناها I am making a deduction in the past. أنا بخمن بس تخميني كان في الماضي. بخمن عن شيء حصل في الماضي. يعني أكيد حصل كذا في الماضي. Her car is still in the driveway. She can't have left for work. إذا سيارتها ما زالت مركونة برا. طيب, she can't have left يعني مستحيل تكون راحت لشغلها. فهنا استخدمت can't have past participle. can't have past participle. Okay. past participle طبعا الverb كان عندي leave left باخد أنا الثالث اللي هو left. She can't have left for work. It doesn't have anything to do with ability. ملهاش أي علاقة بالاستطاعة إنه استطاعت أو ما استطاعتش أو it has nothing to do with this. هنا I'm just making a deduction. بس بعمل استنتاج. There is an empty coffee cup on his desk. أنا شايفة الحين في فنجان قهوة محطوط. So he might have been here earlier. يبقى احتمال إنه هو كان موجود هنا قبل. طبعا كلمة earlier عرفتني إنه بتكلم عن الماضي من قبل. أوكي. فما أقدرش أقول he might be here. might be here يعني هو ممكن يكون موجود الحين. لكن might have been يبقى معناها كان أو احتمال إنه كان موجود قبل ذلك. أوكي. هنا might have والتصريف الثالث للفعل لأنه الجملة الأساسية كان ممكن تكون something like she is here. يعني أنا بخمن هي هنا ولا مش هنا. if I want to do or to talk about this in the past أحط might have والverb اللي هو verb to be يبقى been. might have been here earlier. More examples. When we show the shop's lights were off يعني شفنا المحل أضواءه مغلقة. we knew they must have closed. فعرفنا إنه أكيد إنهم قفلوا. I am making a deduction in the past using must have past participle. أكيد كانوا قفلوا المحل. I think companies must be using advanced algorithms to personalize content. On my social media, it always seems tailored directly to my interest. طبعا this one is still in the present برضو must be. She is surrounded by family and friends, so she can't be sad. فمستحيل تكون حزينة. She might have forgotten about the meeting. يعني احتمال إنها تكون نسيت عن الميتينج. وعندي كلمة yesterday طبعا عرفت لي إنه في الماضي. Okay. You have to be careful with these ones. Okay. Know how to use them in the present and in the past. Okay. طبعا this lesson is recorded, and this one I strongly recommend that you watch this video because it includes all the rules and many exercises to explain how to use models of deduction in the present and in the past. Okay, so I will give you the link, and I will give you this PowerPoint, of course, inshallah, so you can use the links anytime you want. طيب, another one is about forming comparatives اللي هي صفات المقارنة. Okay. All I have to do in the prerequisite parts, الجزء التمهيدي، أنا محتاجة أعرف إنه how to make comparisons with more يعني خاصة أستخدم more مع الصفات الطويلة with longer adjectives. Okay. طبعا we all know that comparatives اللي هي صفات المقارنة I'm usually talking about two things or two people. بتكلم عن حاجتين فقط، بقارن بين شيئين أو شخصين أو غيره. Okay. يعني for example I would say something like you're more intelligent than me. أنت أذكى مني. هنا استخدمت more because intelligent is a long adjective، هي صفة طويلة. And I tend to use words the word than يعني أكثر من مع طبعا الصفات المقارنة. So you're more intelligent than me. أنت أذكى مني. بس هي يعني this is the prerequisite part. The film was more interesting than the book. يعني كان الفيلم شيق أكثر من الكتاب. Okay. So more with long adjectives. Okay. This يعني we have to know how to form this. لازم نعرف إزاي نكون هذه الصفات. This is يعني like a quick summary of how to form comparative rules just for people who don't know. I know يعني most of you would find this easy, but just in case يعني. Usually if I have a short adjective، لو أنا عندي صفة قصيرة نفس tall، if I clap my hands like this I would know it's one syllable. يعني أقول tall like this or short one syllable only. I will just add ER. دايما بضيف ER وخلاص. This is how I make a comparative adjective. taller يعني أطول من، shorter أقصر من. about doubling إنه إمتى يعني الحرف الأخير يتحول لدبل letter زي مثلا big. Okay. The word big usually is written like this, bigger. يعني بيكون we double the G. How do I know this? If you look at the last three letters بنشوف آخر last اللي هي أصلا three letters. I will look at this one. B is a consonant, I is a vowel, G is a consonant. If it's CVC, so we have to double the last letter. وبعدين if it's a long adjective يعني beautiful, beautiful, of course it's more than one syllable as you can see. So I will use words like more or less. لو عايزة أقول إنه أكثر أو أقل فأستخدم كلمة more أو less. More beautiful than or less beautiful than. أكثر جمالا أو أقل جمالا. Okay. أو ممكن أقول كمان another example. Interesting, more interesting, less interesting برضو than. Okay. If I have an adjective ending in Y يعني I have some adjectives that are two syllables، المفروض إن هي two syllables it will follow the rule حسب ما قلنا إنه لو هي أكتر من one syllable I should use more. لكن some adjectives because they end in Y المنتهية ب Y I have to change the Y into I وبكمل ER عادي. And this is a very common mistake. Many students when they write they keep writing more easier أو more easy. Actually it is easier. يعني I cannot say more with easier. خلاص هي easy. I will add ER I will change the Y into I. So easier or lazier like that. Okay. And طبعا you know that some adjectives will be completely changed. الشكل بيتغير تماما زي good, better, bad, worse, far, farther, and far, further. طبعا far الأولى اللي هي I'm talking about يعني space لو بتكلم عن البعد المكاني، أو far further I'm talking about something metaphorical يعني شيء مش مكاني، يعني بتكلم عن حاجة معنوية. أوكي. طيب now this was a preparation. ده كان تمهيد لي عشان يعني to study some comparative sentences, and these are the ones I expect you to see them in the final exam. Okay. They have specific structures. هم محددين شيء معين اللي هو when I use the comparative sentences with to infinitive and a reduced clause like these ones. يعني I think that arbitration is more appropriate than to file an action. هنا أنا حطيت أهو شيء arbitration يعني قرار تعسفي is more appropriate يعني مناسب أكتر. طبعا عندي appropriate is a long adjective so that's why I used more with it. أوكي وحطيت than وبعدين حطيت to and then a verb in infinitive. حطيت فعل ومع مصدر. than to file أفضل من إنه أقدم شكوى. أوكي طيب another way to do this is this. Okay, it performs better than expected يعني إنه يؤدي أفضل من المتوقع. هنا what did I use؟ حطيت comparative adjective حطيت than عادي and then I use past participle. حطيت تصريف ثالث لفعل اللي هو كان expected باخد الثالث يعني أكثر من المتوقع. Okay, so be familiar with the structure. يؤدي أفضل من المتوقع مما هو متوقع than expected. Okay. Here is another one. Sarah performed better in the final exams than she had ever expected. برضو أدت أفضل مما توقعت. Okay, than she had ever expected. So be familiar with structures like these because you will see something like this in the final exam. It is considered a more valuable use of time to plan before traveling than to book. هنا to plus infinitive. يعني يعتبر إنه استخدام أفضل عندي more valuable أو استخدام أكثر قيمة للوقت. to plan أهو أنا كان في عندي هنا to plan يعني إني أخطط قبل السفر than to book hotels أفضل من إنه أحجز فنادق قبل الوصول. Okay, so to plan than to book. To plan than to book. Fine. She always worked many hours. She always worked many more hours than required. دي اللي هي reduced sentence أو اللي هي بنحط than plus past participle. يعني كانت دايما تشتغل ساعات أكثر بكتير من المطلوب than required. يعني أكثر مما هو مطلوب منها. To make sure her work was perfect. It is much easier to consider eating healthy food. أحمد thought than to actually eat. يعني مش شرط طبعا أحط to بعدها الverb على طول. هنا حطيت عادي adverb ما بين ال to وال eat عادي. فإحنا هنا بنقول it is much easier يعني أسهل بكتير إنه نفكر في أكل الطعام الصحي من إنه فعلا ناكل أكل صحي. Okay. فهنا I use than وبعدين حطيت to actually eat. So than to verb in the infinitive. Okay. These are other examples that I found in previous PowerPoints from the ministry. So يعني I included them also just in case. يعني things like these. More people are more focused on improving their lifestyles than on saving. يعني be careful if I have like on verb ing, then the other one is expected to be the same on ing. Okay. Metha was more excited to buy a solar panel than to travel. هنا برضو to. Okay. Same. This is similar to the examples we studied before. The protesters were more concerned with animal welfare than with people's job. Okay. هنا برضو عندي with something. Okay. They look similar. There are more people recycling now than there were 10 years ago. Here I'm like comparing like two situations. I would say a situation in the present أهو and a situation in the past. يعني بقارن وضع في الوقت الحاضر مع حاجة في الوقت الماضي. There is more work to do than we have time for. There is no better way to end the year than by rescuing wild animals in Africa. يعني ما فيش طريقة أفضل من إنه ننهي العام من إنقاذ الحيوانات المفترسة في أفريقيا. An electric car is much more expensive than you think it is. Okay, so be familiar with structures like these just in case something will come in the exam. Now the next one, and this is the last one actually, which is forming superlatives اللي هي الصفات المطلقة. Okay, مطلقة يعني in the previous one اللي هي comparatives I was comparing usually between two things. كنت بقارن بين شيئين. Now I will be comparing more. Okay. يعني مثلا if I say the most expensive, I'm not talking about two things here. I'm talking about 3 or 4 or 1 million. I'm talking about so many things. وبقول الأغلى الأفضل مثلا. Okay. So if I am saying that I have so many things and I'm trying to see which one has يعني the most of this adjective, مين اللي عنده الصفة الأكثر, I will use something like this اللي هي بنسميها superlatives أو الصفات المطلقة. The most expensive الأغلى, the most interesting, الأكثر إمتاعا مثلا. Okay. طيب طبعا ال superlative rules look exactly like the comparative rules نفس الشيء. بس here I would add est يعني لو عندي one syllable I will use est the tallest الأطول, the shortest الأقصر. okay. وبرضه نفس الشيء I will double the last letter if I have CVC as I explained before. طبعا if I have two syllables or more طبعا I will add the words most or least. يعني ممكن أقول the most beautiful الأكثر جمالا أو the least beautiful الأقل جمالا أو the most interesting أو the least interesting and so on. برضو نفس الشيء if I have words or adjectives with two syllables but they end in y نفس الشيء I will instead of adding er أنا هنا بتكلم عن الصفات المطلقة so I will add est and change the y into I. So easiest, the easiest الأسهل أو the laziest الأكسل. Okay. And of course some adjectives with complete change بنغير شكلها تماما. good, best بسميها the best طبعا, الأفضل the worst, the farthest, the furthest and so on. طيب what do I need to focus on in the final exam? This one, because this is the learning outcome that you will have. Okay. So the structure when I have a superlative adjective and then I have that followed by a clause to talk about something unique يعني عشان أتكلم عن شيء فريد أو مختلف أو يعني واحد من نوعه. I would like you to focus on these expressions. كلمة by far, among, one of, plus the superlative adjective. يعني it was probably the best comedy that anyone could ever have made. يعني احتمال إنها تكون كانت أفضل كوميديا إنه أي حد شافها أو أي حد عملها قبل كده. Okay. In my opinion, this is the worst thing that يعني استخدام كلمة that. Be careful with that. Because if they say this is the structure, then you are expected to see this in the final exam. In my opinion, this is the worst thing that can ever happen. برأيي هذا هو أفضل شيء ممكن يحصل. Okay. طيب. Now I want to focus on the expressions mentioned earlier. احنا اتكلمنا عن that. Now we'll talk about expressions like by far or one or among. Okay. When I say she is by far, okay. by far معناها بلا منازع. Okay. أو بشكل واضح. Okay. Let me go to the previous one. وفي عندي among اللي هي من بين أو من ضمن. So let me go to this one. Okay. لما أقول she is by far the most enthusiastic colleague that I've met in our company. هنا حاطط by far مع superlative adjective by far يعني على الإطلاق أو بشكل واضح. أوكي. هي أكثر صديقة متحمسة قابلتها في الشركة. أوكي. by far. وهنا حطيت ذات كمان. This is the one. This is a mistake. Actually, it should be this is one of the worst. المفروض this is one of the worst. I will change this in the PowerPoint that I will give to you, inshallah. This is one of the worst, most boring films I have ever seen. Here I have like two different adjectives. في عندي worst وعندي most boring. فده واحد من الأسوأ والأكثر أكثر الأفلام مللاً أنا شفتها في حياتي. أوكي. فهنا be careful if I have something in the final exam. يعني لو عندي مثلا these dresses ينفع أقول one of the worst ولا أقول some of the worst. لا هقول some because dresses is plural. be careful when I use an expression like this. لما استخدم كلمة one it should be something singular. لازم يكون حاجة مفرد طبعا. It's among the most useful designs that I've ever seen because it meets all the requirements. هنا among معناها من ضمن، من بين. يعني I have many designs that I can call useful. يعني عندي أكتر من design وكل واحد فيهم بقدر أقول عليه إن هو the most useful. يعني الأكثر إفادة. لكن هنا حطيت among يعني معناها أنا بختار ده من ضمن الموجودين. among يعني بين أو من ضمن. It's among the most useful designs that I've ever or I have ever seen because it meets all the requirements. لأنه في كل المتطلبات. Okay. طيب هنا تاني by far among. Okay. The presentation on the impact of climate change was one of the most interesting lectures I've ever attended. يعني هو واحد أو كان واحد من أكثر المحاضرات إمتاعا أنا حضرتها. Okay. One of the most interesting lectures. Okay. It was in fact the Emirati athletes who were some of the best. هنا أنا حطيت أهو إماراتي athletes اللي هم الرياضيين الإماراتيين. حطيت هنا some of the best يعني بعض من الأفضل، أو هم يعتبروا ممكن كمان أقول among the best، بس لو حطيت some هقول some of the best، يعني هم بعض من أفضل المتسابقين أو المنافسين في المسابقة. وممكن أحط among، لكن can I use one؟ ينفع أقول إماراتي athletes are one؟ لا طبعا because athletes is a plural word لأنها جمع. Okay. She is among the best in the class. هي من بين الأفضل في الصف. يعني she is included in the group that I can call the best. She is among the best. يعني among عادي could be used with singular or plural. And here يعني really I would not think a lot. Sometimes when people think too much they make mistakes. What I would do is I would read the sentence and see if it makes sense. I understand that among means بين أو من ضمن. I understand the word some معناها بعض و one معناها واحد. So I read my sentences and take my decision based on that. طيب now we come to the functional language اللي هي اللغة الوظيفية. Some people tend to neglect this, but I'm telling you this is really, really important. Why are these important? Because first of all, be sure that one or even more of them may be used in the writing. يعني واحدة من bullet points in the writing prompt may be one of these. ممكن يكون واحدة منهم يطلب من الطالب مثلا talk about how celebrations were in the past مثلا. So this is a past experience. طبعا الopinion is يعني will be there in the first question of the writing anyway. They could ask you to compare two different celebrations, compare and contrast, المقارنات. So one of the bullet points in the writing might be this. And even more importantly, they will be in the maze. They will give you some expressions and you need to study them, and you will be asked to choose the correct answer based on your knowledge of these language items. So if I start with expressing opinions, I'm not going to read word by word here because there's so many. But if I were you, what I would do, I would actually read all of these expressions. And if I find anything new, I would just learn it and memorize it. Okay? يعني if you don't know as far as I'm concerned, then study it. As far as I'm concerned, يعني برأيي من وجهة نظري. That is the right decision. So be familiar with this expression. يعني don't think concerned معناها قلق أو مهتم. Be careful. As far as I'm concerned. And you cannot change any part of the sentence. يعني ما حد يغير شيل كلمة as ولا يعني it should be the same. As far as I'm concerned, I think that all of these expressions are opinions. I believe that. أعتقد إنه. My opinion is that. In my opinion. كمان be careful where to use the comma here. يعني in my opinion is usually followed by a comma. So this could be a clue in the final exam. Other expressions like I feel that, I guess that, I strongly believe that, all of these expressions you should be familiar with. To be honest, يعني للأمانة, I reckon that, يعني I guess that, okay? From my point of view, from my perspective, the way I see it. So keep reading. If you find anything new, you just stop and learn that. I'm of the opinion that. Okay. I can't help thinking يعني ما أقدرش أمنع نفسي من إنه أعتقد كذا. Okay. أو I can't help feeling that. إنه ما أقدرش أمنع نفسي إنه أشعر بكذا. I'm absolutely certain that. أنا متأكد تماما إنه كذا. Without a doubt. بلا شك. Frankly. بصراحة. And then a comma. Okay. طيب. Something else is describing past experiences and events. إزاي أتكلم عن الخبرات السابقة في الماضي. How to talk about the past. When I first graduated. This is simply using past simple tenses. Okay. أستخدم الماضي البسيط. When I first graduated. أول ما تخرجت. Then I wanted to study. يعني I have some verbs in the past. Easy. I finished school in 2020, which is a while ago now. A while ago يعني منذ فترة. Okay. After studying for 3 years, بعد ما درست لمدة 3 سنوات, I graduated. يعني whereas like after or again using verbs in the past. As soon as I graduated, بمجرد ما تخرجت, I applied to work. Okay. So be familiar with these just in case. Okay. A while ago قلنا منذ فترة. As soon as بمجرد أن. Other expressions might be easy يعني will not read all of them. What happens, all past tenses like that. Past continuous sometimes. Okay. Remember being يعني أتذكر إني كنت في لندن. Be careful when I say remember plus verb ing. Okay. What did they used to do before computers? People used to, and here I have to stop يعني for a minute maybe to teach you something. Expressions used to would both refer to actions people repeated in the past. يعني كلمة used to مش معناها يستخدم هنا. معناها إنه كانوا الناس معتادين أو كانوا بيكتبوا خطابات بس الحين خلاص they don't. I can say something like I used to go to my grandmother every week but now I don't. يعني ده اللي أنا كنت بعمله في الماضي. Okay. Again the word would يعني رغم شوية يعني some people would not understand the word would but sometimes it refers to a past action that people did. Okay. What would you usually do in summer holidays يعني معناها كنت دايما بتروح فين في أجازات الصيف. يعني I'm talking about the past. فهنا كانت الإجابة we would always go to the same beach every year. يعني كنا دايما بنروح لنفس الشاطئ كل سنة. This might be new because not everyone understands that would is sometimes used to talk about past events. نتكلم على أشياء كانت بتتكرر في الماضي. Sorry. This is something extra but يعني I will say just in case actually used to and would mean the same thing. الاثنين نفس المعنى. The only difference is that would is only followed by action verbs. And here I have to explain the difference between stative and action verbs. Stative verbs describe a state rather than an action. الأفعال اللي هي بتوصف حالة. يعني for example, I agree, I believe, I guess, I imagine, I hate somebody, I like somebody, I love somebody. Okay. These are called stative verbs. I am, so I am a teacher, for example. This is a state. It's not an action. Okay. If you compare them to action verbs are verbs that include actions like run, laugh, for example. Okay. So the only problem is that would is only followed by action verbs. يعني would fly, would run, would eat, but I cannot say would love or would be like that. Okay. So this is the only difference between would and used to. Okay. Here are some examples of action verbs like playing, for example, stuff like that. Okay. Okay, some other expressions a while ago يعني منذ فترة منذ وقت some time ago a long time ago in the olden days as I said before طبعا you have to go through this and see if there is a new expression. I would learn it and memorize it just in case it will appear in the final exam. Especially that I think lately طبعا teachers stopped to see the exams. We didn't see the exam of term 2 or 3 last year. But according to some of my students, they told me that they started to have conversations in the maze. So just in case, يعني, just in case this happens, uh, be careful. There might be two people talking together or something. So this could be where you will see the functional language. In the olden days, يعني في الأيام الخوالي, or in the past, not many people would fly. طبعا هنا would is used with an action verb. Okay. Which is correct. يعني حط would مع action verb لأنه fly is another كان معناها كانوا بيطيروا أو كانوا بيسافروا عن طريق الطيران لدول أخرى. Okay. لكن ما أقدرش أقول would be مثلا nice أو something like that. Okay. Once upon a time, مرة من المرات, all of these expressions are used for the past. Again, we still have comparing and contrasting. Okay. And I have some expressions. I will go through these just in case they appear in the final exam. On the one hand, on the other hand, in spite of, despite, compared to, بالمقارنة. Okay. While, بينما. Be careful with these. Okay. So while معناها بينما. A doctor designs the treatment plans. الطبيب بيصمم خطط العلاج بينما الممرضة بتقوم بتنفيذها. Okay. Tablets offer a significantly more user-friendly experience compared to laptops. يعني التابلتس بتوفر خبرة أكثر أو يعني أكثر استخداما أو أكثر سهولة للمستخدم بالمقارنة باللابتوبس بالمقارنة. Okay. On the one hand, من ناحية كذا ومن ناحية أخرى كذا. I want to eat pizza, but on the other hand, I should eat something healthy. These expressions or these examples I took from a previous PowerPoint from the ministry. In spite of, على الرغم من, وهكذا. So you'll keep reading. If you find anything new, I would learn it, as I said. Okay. Although, even though طبعا the use of comparative adjectives, استخدام الصفات المقارنة, like hotter, more beautiful, all of these will be also used in the comparative, in the comparing and contrasting area. I didn't enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoyed the food, though, على الرغم من ذلك. Okay. Conversely, nevertheless, طبعا comparing, when I say comparing and contrasting, I'm usually talking about similarities and differences. يعني it's possible to talk about similarities also. Conversely, here معناها على العكس, يعني I'm talking about a difference. Nevertheless, على الرغم من ذلك, differ. Okay. Sometimes I have expressions to talk about similarities. عندي مثلا similarly بشكل مشابه. Okay. Likewise بشكل مشابه. In contrast to بالمقارنة به. Keep in mind that comparing and contrasting will include talking about similarities and differences. Okay. So that's it. This is everything. And as I said before, once the grammar PowerPoint is released, I would read it because it may have, it may be shorter than this one for sure. So I would like you to be familiar with the sentences and examples that they will use, because I'm sure you will see something similar in the final exam, inshallah. Now I have some practice questions. Let's start with the first one. He talks to me as if, كما لو. Okay. He everything about the project, but he doesn't have a clue. ما عندوش أي فكرة. knows ولا knew ولا has known. طبعا you can pause, stop the video and guess the answer for yourself before you listen to me. The answer is, of course, knew, because I'm assuming he doesn't actually know. It says here he doesn't have a clue. ما عندوش أي فكرة. So I will use the unreal past, استخدم ال past tense, in order to refer to the fact that this is not true. Okay, next one. They act as if, كما لو, they millionaires, but they aren't. هم مش millionaires. They don't have any money, probably. So are ولا were ولا have been. Yes, were. They act as if they were millionaires. كما لو إنهم مليونيرات. But they aren't. John prefers to read books. His brother prefers to watch movies. So what do I have here? I have two different things. So whereas يعني بينما يعني I'm comparing two things بينما because I have two different things. Be careful in the final exam when you're dealing with the maze. You have to read every option with the sentence. يعني I will read it like this. As far as scientists are concerned, the new drug shows promising results during trials. Or in the olden days, the new drug shows promising results during trials. Or similarly, the new drug shows promising results during trials. You do this especially with the longer phrases because it might be confusing. As far as scientists are concerned معناها في رأي العلماء. In the olden days يعني في الأيام الخوالي أو في الماضي. Similarly يعني بشكل مشابه. So, of course, as far as scientists are concerned برأي العلماء إنه الدواء الجديد يعني يظهر نتائج واعدة أثناء التجارب. The vaccine is thinking to be or is thought to be or were thought to be effective against new variants. ها طبعا الفاكسين ما يقدرش يفكر. Okay, so ها is thought to be يعني يعتقد إنه قلنا the vaccine is thought to be أو it is thought that the vaccine is. Okay, the cake must be ready ولا can't be ready or mustn't be ready. It has been in the oven for only 10 minutes. Only 10 minutes. بس 10 دقايق. حطينا الكيك 10 دقايق. So what do you think? Is it ready or not ready? ها احنا بنخمن. We are making a deduction. So ها can't be ready. مستحيل تكون جهزت لأنه I only put it for 10 minutes. Okay? فمن مش من المتوقع إنها تكون خلصت الكيكة. So it can't be ready. مستحيل تكون جاهزة. The walls is being built right now. الحين الآن. Or are being built or has been built by the painters. The walls are being built يعني يتم بنائهم الحين. حطينا are لأنه walls is plural. كلمة walls طبعا جمع. وبعدين being بعدين past participle من built right now يعني الآن اللي هو present continuous passive. The room is cold. الغرفة باردة. Someone might left the windows open last night ولا can't have left the windows open last night ولا must have left the windows open last night. طبعا عندي last night so I'm talking about the past. ما دام الليلة الماضية بتكلم عن الماضي. So must have يعني أكيد إنه في حد ترك الشبابيك مفتوحة الليلة الماضية. ما ينفعش أقول can't have لأنه لو قلت can't have معناها مستحيل يكون حد تركهم مفتوحين. and I'm saying the room is cold. أنا عندي يعني I have a piece of evidence to suggest that someone did this already. ف I will say must have past participle اللي هو left. must have left. The company is one of the more successful in the industry ولا among the most successful in the industry or some of the most successful in the industry. It looks like طبعا it's one company. But if I say one of the more successful يعني it doesn't make sense. I would say among the most successful يعني هي من ضمن الأفضل أو الأنجح. من ضمن الأنجح. Okay. In the past, people would be much more active ولا used to be much more active ولا were used to be much more active. طبعا would we used to we said that they talk about the past. الاثنين معناهم I'm talking about something that happened in the past. لكن here I will take used to لأنه used to is followed by a stative verb. عندي be هنا stative verb ف I cannot say would with be. ما ينفعش أقول would be. Okay. طبعا if I use the last one we're used to كمان يعني sometimes you can use this expression. They were used to. It's also possible but whatever comes after this should be a verb with ing. يعني مثلا I was used to drinking coffee but now I stopped. كانوا متعودين على شيء. if you use this expression, a verb to be, used to, then the next verb should have ing. Okay. The witnesses were believed to have been seen the entire event, ولا have been being seen, ولا have seen the entire event. يعني يعتقد إنه الشهود what happened, the entire event, المشهد كامل أو الحدث كامل. طبعا to have seen the entire event. قلنا لما نحط have plus past participle here, it means something is believed to have happened in the past. يعني في شيء حصل في الماضي. To have seen the entire event. طيب here, in spite of the fact that, على الرغم من حقيقة إنه أو in the olden days, في الأيام الخوالي أو في الأيام أو في الماضي أو in contrast to, بالمقارنة مع, books were copied by hand before printing was invented. كانت الكتب تنسخ باليد قبل ما يتم اختراع الطباعة. in the olden days يعني في الأيام القديمة أو في الأيام الخوالي أو في الماضي. She is, here I have two spaces, عندي فراغين. She is much the best student that I have taught, ولا she is most the best student which I have ever taught, ولا she is by far the best student that I have ever taught. The last one. She is by far يعني بشكل واضح هي الأفضل، أفضل طالبة أنا درستها. The mail is delivered or delivers or was delivering every morning at 8 a.m. البريد يتم تسليمه. البريد ما بيسلم نفسه. I cannot say the mail delivers. مستحيل. ولا was delivering. It has to be verb to be past participle اللي هو present simple passive. It is more efficient to send an email more than writing a letter, ولا then write a letter, ولا than to write. طبعا than to write لأنه يعني this is the structure that they want me to focus on. وكمان أنا عندي هنا in the beginning to send an email, so the next one should look the same than to write a letter. If I were you, لو أنا مكانك, I would take the job, ولا I will take the job, ولا I will have taken the job. This is the second conditional, فطبعا I would take the job. If I were you, I would take the job. لو أنا مكانك أنا باخد الوظيفة. The movie started in a while, ولا later, ولا a while ago, so we missed the beginning. طبعا a while ago يعني بدأت منذ فترة، لذلك إحنا فاتتنا البداية. أوكي؟ لو قلت in a while يعني لسه هتبدأ خلال فترة. later يعني بعدين in the future. The bridge is being repaired at the moment to improve traffic flow. يعني يتم تصليحه، ولا is repaired ولا has been repaired. طبعا لاحظ هنا we have at the moment يعني في الوقت الحالي يعني حاليا. أوكي في هذه اللحظة. if I have something like this usually it's a continuous tense. لازم يكون زمن مستمر. So is being repaired يعني يتم تصليحه الآن. وطبعا ما أقدرش أقول مثلا is repairing لأنه the bridge does not do the repairing. البريدج ما بيصلح نفسه. somebody else does this. فلازم يكون passive voice tense مبني للمجهول. is being repaired. 19. When we were kids, we will go, ولا would go, ولا we're going to the park every Sunday. Something in the past. So would go. طبعا would go is possible because go is an action verb. فعادي ناخد معاها would. So we would go to the park every Sunday. John loves playing football. His brother enjoys basketball. هقول as similar ولا similarity ولا similarly his brother enjoys basketball. Similarly بشكل مشابه. His brother enjoys basketball. Okay. That's it. These are my references, and I hope you liked the video. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you like it, and thank you so much for watching.